his representative.
Good morning. Good morning. This is Alex Turanga. I'm online.
Good morning, Alex. Morning, Dave.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Could you call the roll of the officers, please?
Commissioner Uranga,
Here.
Commissioner Lear,
Here.
Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Fisher,
Here.
Commissioner Olson,
Here.
Vice Chair Zerniak, Chair Zarges.
Here. Okay. Approval of changes to the agenda.
I move for approval of the agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Fisher, second by Commissioner Lear. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Approval of the minutes, regular meeting of May 28th, 2026. Can we get a motion on that, please?
Move for approval of the minutes for May 28th, 2026.
I'll second that.
Okay, again, motion by Commissioner Fisher, second by Commissioner Lear to approve the minutes. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions. Okay, old business, I don't believe we have any. And now we're going to wait for staff. Good morning, Albert.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand, state your name and address for the record.
Albert Casillas, 845 North Motel Boulevard.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Efren, can we get the other PowerPoint in here, the 5A? Thank you. So today we're going to be hearing two different subdivisions. This first one's up in the Talavera area. The owner is Mr. Daniel Rubin, being represented by Libin Underwood, who's here in the audience today. This property is located in Dripping Springs Road. It's basically the last privately owned property before you get to the Organ Mountain area or park. But it is zoned D1L. It's a type 3 subdivision for 13 residential lots. It's 26 acres. Lots are going to be ranging in size from 1 acre to about 4.5 acres. And this is to be known as the Organ Mountain Alpenglow subdivision. So here is the location map. So it's on the south side of Dripping Springs Road. Here's just a close-up of the property. This is the 26 acres. And on the zoning map, you can see it's a D1L. Everything out there, it's pretty much D1L or R5L. You know, if you've been here for a while, you know, there's been multiple attempts to get the zone changes to go down in lot sizes, including this property here. This property, they try to add additional lots by getting rid of some of the original conditions that were imposed back when it was still under the ETZ. But that zone change request failed, so they were still capped at 13 lots. The idea was that they were going to maintain a density of 2 acres per lot, therefore the 13 lots. So with the existing zoning, the minimum lot size is just 1 acre. If sewer was ever to go out there, then they can go down to 6,000 square feet. On April 19th of 2006, that's when they got their first zone change approval, but it had a couple of conditions associated on there. And then the main condition was that they couldn't exceed a density of 2 acres per lot. And that's that original order from 06. And it's basically condition number 1 that says, yes, I mean, you can't exceed that density. You're capped at 13 lots. And then Mr. Rubin came in last year. He attempted to remove that condition, but that failed. So they were still subject to those 13 lots. So when it comes to this proposal, all utilities will be underground, with the exception of solid waste disposal. Water services, it's going to be by Moongate. They're going to be on septics. Access is from Dripping Springs Road onto Alpenglow Circle. All residential lots will be accessible from paved maintained roadways, and all internal roadways will also be built out. And when you look at the preliminary plat, it's basically, Dripping Springs Road. You have Alpenglow Circle, kind of ends in a little cul-de-sac. So, like I mentioned before, that there has been, several zone changes out there with, several conditions. One of the conditions that I saw out there for other cases for these properties right here, for the subdivision, was that, in the end, once everything was developed, that they wanted to see a connection, coming in from here and then exiting through here. So it will be like a whole loop from the other residential areas. So because of that, the applicant has left out right-of-way in place in case, whenever, this property here to the south decides to develop, the right-of-way is already there, and then they can, just connect to the end of that cul-de-sac right here. So the next couple of slides, it's just a subject parcel. So here I'm basically standing at the edge of the National Monument, looking south onto the subject parcel. Subject parcel here. As you can see, it's all just desert right now. That's a private neighborhood. That's the closest properties to the south of the 26 acres. And that's just a private driveway. And then the closest road is going to be Camino Bonito and intersecting with Dripping Springs. And then it just keeps on going south towards, that's Tortugas there in the background. So these are the sections that are applicable under the UDC for subdivision reviews. Those were the properties that were notified for this case. Letters were mailed out. You saw the signs on the property. So when it comes to findings, the findings they're included in your packet. But basically today we're just going to be recommending conditional approval for the Oregon Mountain Alpenglow subdivision. The condition being that they address the outstanding comments, which are pretty minimal at this point, and they're going to have to be addressed before final plat, before we go to final plat approval. With that said, we do stand for questions. Mr. Zach Livens here also. He can address any questions or comments.
Okay. You have questions of staff?
We should be able to see him from here. Bike lanes shall be incorporated in the subdivision plat to address neighborhood concerns. No overhead street lights shall be permitted. The developer shall dedicate right-of-way to connect to Desert Mirage Drive, so future loop.
So does the plat show bike lanes?
I'll let Zach address that because we did have that conversation, but basically some of the when you get to that point of Dripping Springs, I know it's pretty narrow out there. I don't believe I think there's only signs about, just like share the road and that's it. But even with the improvements that the county have, done out there, I don't see there's any dedicated bike lanes out there. So I know we had that conversation. I'll let Zach address that because the conversation was, well, it just doesn't make any sense to have a bike lane on that little cul-de-sac if there's no bike lanes on Dripping Springs Road.
Other questions of staff? Okay. The applicant here. Can we hear from the applicant?
One more, Albert.
I'm sorry.
So in looking at the notification list, most of the property around that is still privately held, right? Yeah.
No, Commissioner Zerniak, yes, that's correct. A lot of the property is privately maintained. I only see maybe one property that was BLM that was notified a lot of them were privately maintained.
So it's just on that eastern boundary where the federal land,
Yes.
okay, okay.
Okay, could we hear from the applicant, please?
Good morning. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Zachary Libin, 1121 Birch Drive, Las Cruces, New Mexico.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Again, my name is Zach Libin with Libin Underwood Engineering and Surveying. I appreciate the thorough presentation that Mr. Casillas gave. I don't have much to add. I'll address that one question about bike lanes. About the only thing that I want to add is that, as you can see on the preliminary plat, the subdivision is designed and the plat includes restrictive easements for all of the arroyos to protect those arroyos from anyone building inside the arroyo. There are no FEMA designated floodplains in the area. It's an area that's not studied. We instead ran modeling of 100-year flow paths and then used that to inform where to have those restrictive easements across the property to leave it wild in the arroyos and leave that those corridors in there. So there will be covenants and the final plat restrictions to that effect. That was the main thing I wanted to address. On the issue of bike lanes, just to jump to your question, we've been told that along Dripping Springs Road does count as a bike lane. There's obviously not a striped bike lane there. There is a very wide shoulder. Within the subdivision here, which I think is more specific to the condition, we're showing the complete road section, and that does allow for on-street parking and bike lane within that section, within that width of that asphalt, taking up most of that 50-foot right-of-way. And with this kind of subdivision, we don't expect on-street parking so much as allowing for that pedestrian connectivity throughout this internal road. So I don't know if that addresses the question, but there's not typically striping on these kind of local roads. But in that cross section, there's space for bikes and pedestrians.
Okay, do we have any questions?
So Zach, why the cul-de-sac?
Okay, the biggest reason for the cul-de-sac is that these arroyos do make it challenging to actually have a full loop, and it would require that this is designed with a low flow crossing and one culvert. It would probably require another low flow crossing or a bridge that wouldn't get you much more, because you're still crossing the sort of the same arroyo there. And if you're familiar, there's a dip here where on the plat it shows the word Dripping and Dripping Springs Road, and that is a big dip in the road, and there's a significant arroyo that crosses the road. The parts that are coming through here are much less significant, especially with that low flow crossing, is that's not where the big arroyo crosses. But that topography and drainage would be my reasons for not having it any longer than that to serve those 13 lots. And as noted, there is potential for future connectivity all the way through when the property to the south is developed.
So are you proposing to build that extension through the beyond the cul-de-sac?
No, sir, not at this time, because it would sort of be a road to nowhere, and not sure that the property to the south is ever going to get developed. But the utilities are being stubbed out there, and the road is being extended to that cul-de-sac, and right-of-way is being dedicated to or at least platted up to that, to show those property owners that their property is encumbered by that up to the property line, to the south property line.
So that'll be in the deeds for the properties, that there could be a road there in the future.
Yes, sir. It'll be shown on the final plat. Yes, sir.
Okay, so where the floodplains are, or the 100-year flows are you going to allow walls within the subdivision? Or will restrictive covenants prevent that?
There will be restrictive covenants, and those, you wouldn't be able to build a wall in one of those arroyos, in summary.
Okay,
Or a home. Theoretically, you could have some driveway improvements across one of those to be able to get to the home with a site plan that shows proper culvert design there, but otherwise, nothing can be built in those easements.
Are there any restrictions on the height of the buildings?
You know what, I'm not sure. I'm gonna confer with our client real quick, if that's okay.
what is the zoning?
Commissioners, Commissioner Olson, per the zoning, you are allowed a height of 35 feet under the D1 or D1L, unless something else is specified under covenants.
So to confirm, sorry, to confirm, there's not planned for restrictive covenants on height other than the standard zoning requirement for that.
I'm just concerned about what that will do to your neighbors.
Yes, sir. And these lots are quite large, and view sheds are taken into consideration in these lot designs, in the lot layout, so that everybody does have a good view. Everybody obviously wants to see the gorgeous Oregon Mountains there. So that's taken into consideration in the lot layout. Do understand your concern, and I think the code, we can work with the client to talk about other restrictions they want to include for the building height, but they don't have any planned at this time.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone in the public who wishes to comment on this case, come forward.
I really didn't plan to talk.
You have to be
Good
sworn
morning.
in.
Good morning.
Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Anya Parco. My address is 4435 Oregon Mesa Loop.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
Absolutely. We've done this dance a year ago, about 187 homes with Paul Curry. We've done this dance in front of you, Mr. Robert Cherniak, Mr. Bill Zargak. You know how community feels about all of it. You raised over 1,000 signatures in 2 weeks, and it's gonna happen again and again. I'm glad that you asked about the height. Again, Dripping Spring is the heart of Las Cruces. Las Cruces does not offer anything else except the beauty of the mountains. We don't have amenities. I'm a physical therapist. Our medical care is going down because people go somewhere else. So again, we have all these promises, the 35 feet height of the buildings, right? But the truth is, builders and developers do what they want to do. And last time we had this meeting, Mr. Cherniak, Mr. Zargak, people waited here for 4 hours. And the first thing that you guys talk about transparency, and then you gave us a minute to all those people who were here before. There were over 1,000 signatures. Do people want to do over again the same dance? No. Why? Because after you talk about transparency, and some of you were not here then, that was a year ago, you went back and voted behind closed door. What's the point? Again, Dripping Spring is the heart of Las Cruces. So I hope you have some conscience and some consideration. 35 feet tall, it's right against the Oregon Mountain Monument. You know that this is where people feel it's a recreational road. People go there to find God. And it's the only place where we still have a harmony and the beauty. And again, humans, we don't really embrace harmony. We embrace progress, fine, but maybe somewhere else. Maybe this goes nowhere. I understand. It's just another dance, the same all over. But you know, Dripping Spring is only one time, one place at the moment. And when it's not going to be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishes to speak on this issue? Seeing no one, I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion. I move that, just a second.
26013.
Case number SD 26-013 be approved as presented.
Have a second?
I second.
Any discussion on the motion?
So I'm just curious about this, where the cul-de-sac is. Why don't you move that down to the southern property line? I mean, builders have done this all the time. When they expect that there's going to be an extension of the road, they build a cul-de-sac at the end until the connection is made. So what you're going to do, what I see happening here is that if an extension is made, you're going to have to either redraw property lines if the cul-de-sac is eliminated, or you're going to have this oddball bubble in the middle of the subdivision. Why not just move the cul-de-sac down to the end of the road where it probably should be? And at such time as the road's extended, the cul-de-sac can be eliminated.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Zerniak, I appreciate the question. A portion of the purpose of a cul-de-sac like that is for lot frontage. So these lots all have, well, specifically there, it's a little bit narrower at the front to meet the minimum frontage requirements, but then there are large lots beyond that. So there's a minimum frontage required. And the cul-de-sac allows for multiple driveways off of that. And then the lot design here, as I mentioned, does take into consideration the arroyos and the views. And so the lot layout is the main reason that the road is shown in that shape and topography to work with the existing topography without disturbing those arroyos any more than any road crossing it would have to. So those are the main reasons. Also, at least in my mind, that cul-de-sac could stay even if that road is connected, because it does have both a fire turnaround benefit and for frontage of those lots, so they have minimum frontage. And then minimum acreage, minimum frontage was also taken into consideration. If that road is built, those lots will still be in compliance with all the requirements, even if that half of a 50-foot road is taken away from those lots. So it wouldn't require being replatted, just to clarify.
So if that extension is not built at this time and the road dead ends there, Albert, could you bring up the plat, please? Oh, there it is. So lot 10, anybody who lives there is going to have to cross this arroyo to get to their property, right?
Yes, sir.
If you extend the road, then they can get in without crossing the arroyo on their property. They'd still have to cross the arroyo. I'm just trying to understand, and if you just extend the road, it doesn't take that much frontage away from anyone. Oh, here's what I'm concerned about.
Yes, sir.
That at some time in the future, somebody's gonna come in and say, you know, we don't want the road built, we don't want the connection made, we don't know who's gonna sit here. And I'm concerned that if you stop the road there, and the longer it stays that way, the more people are gonna believe that's the way it will be in the future. If you put the cul-de-sac at the boundary line, they know that in the future it's going to connect to the property to the south. I know to me, it seems that the main cost being incurred is the additional asphalt that has to be laid to get to the property line. But the cul-de-sac can either be there or at the bottom, it doesn't matter. It just seems like a more appropriate plan for the future to put the cul-de-sac in and extend the road to the boundary.
Just to continue your observation, the extension of the road is to be determined based on future development to the south or not, and what they're allowed to do in the future. If it wasn't for that extension, this is the preferred layout. But we've also set up and accommodated a road there in a good location, so the future road, so that it could be built. As I mentioned, the utilities are stubbed out and such. There are additional costs to, like, building a road to nowhere that although not your concern, the client's concern, obviously, of extending that further would require extending the utilities and the pavement further. And for the desired lot layout there, that doesn't add anything to them. The final plat does offer good restrictions to where it's clear that you can't, like, build in that or obstruct that future road. It's both noted on there, and it'll be part of any future survey as well with those easements and those restrictions. So I don't think anybody's gonna be surprised when that road does come in the future, if it's developed to the south.
So let's consider this. Who's responsible in the future for constructing that extension?
It would probably be the developer building whatever other roads and thoroughfares that they have to develop whatever they have planned to the south. And again, the tricky part is we don't know what they have planned to the south, or if they have anything planned. I mean, I can imagine that they have some ideas, but I don't know of any plans to develop that lot to the south at this time. So I assume that it would be their responsibility to provide whatever connectivity is necessary. That allowing for that right of way, in my mind at least, meets the requirements of the zoning restrictions, while also setting up these lots in the layout preferred by our client.
Thank you, Zach.
Yes, sir.
Do I understand that there are no HOA, CC&R requirements linked to the building height, which would preclude building almost a 3-story building on those properties? Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir. There aren't any currently planned.
Okay. What does that do to those people who live in that, or where this development is? How does it affect these other people in that area? I mean, what are we doing to the quiet enjoyment of those other people in that who right now gaze upon the mountains, and what does that do to their property values? Those are the questions going through my mind.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Olson, I think, first of all, there aren't any homes built right there right now. So that they could also build their homes with the view. I think the zoning restrictions are the baseline to address that concern. That there's a restriction on height. As you noted, it's 34 feet for that height. I think I got that right, 30-some feet for that height. noting that it's meeting all those requirements of the UDC and the zoning code, and it's not that those restrictions can't be added, just that it's meeting those requirements, and I don't think there's anybody built right there currently that it's gonna obstruct their view. It is obviously a concern of the developer as well that these are very nice lots, and that they don't want these obstructing the view of each other either. So I think in summary, just to answer your question more directly, I think the zoning code sets up that minimum height, and that's mostly what we're relying on for those restrictions.
Yeah, my problem is that sometimes zoning.
Sorry,
restrictions-
Commissioner Olson,
Yes, sir.
can I get you to turn on your mic?
Just speaking.
My concern is that sometimes zoning restrictions and that are not applicable to being good neighbors. And I think I view this as a potential not a good neighbor situation.
So what we're saying is that they could put a 3-story home on that.
Effectively,
lot.
yes, ma'am. I guess I don't foresee them doing that, but that would not be precluded, that's correct.
I mean, you could cap it at 2, couldn't you? As part of subdivision approval?
Chairs, Commissioner Zerniak, you can cap it at 2, but I think without a height, that's not gonna really mean much, because I've seen some pretty tall first floors.
I mean, you could say 20 feet, right?
You could, but it's been the norm out there for 35 feet. And let me go to the podium real quick, and I'll put up the aerial just so you see how, the surrounding area has been developed out there. When we look at that aerial, you kind of see that the closest neighbors are going to be those properties there to the southwest. Their lot sizes are pretty big. This subject parcel is kind of a little bit more towards the northeast of that, those 3 lots that are there on that private driveway. But yes, I mean, 35 feet, that's the maximum height for any dwelling out there. Even if there were covenants, we as a county, we can't enforce covenants. So if they had, covenants that said, okay, 50 feet tall or 20 feet tall, we would have to enforce what's in our UDC. If anything was to have any weight on the height issue, it would have to come from the Planning and Zoning Commission and ultimately the Board of County Commissioners as well.
Okay, I want to go back to the road issue. We can ask them to post a bond for that extension, can't we?
We can do like a letter of credit or a bond. The way I'm looking at it is by having the right-of-way already there,
Yeah,
already recorded as part of the plat, in my opinion, it'll be up to the developer on the south that would be subject to those road improvements because of the zoning conditions that have been imposed on previous zone changes. That property there to the south did go through a zone change as well, and it had similar conditions as what we just saw here for this one. So, that connectivity issue of having that loop is part of that, is part of the condition of them having that D1L zone. So they would have to figure out a way on how to connect to Alpenglow's improved road. And having the right-of-way there already makes that a whole lot easier. It's just, I think it just comes down to who's gonna pay for that extension. And if we leave the plat as it's shown, then it would be up to the new developer that's coming in to make that connection.
And from what I can see, though, is that extending that road down, that cul-de-sac all the way down, it only helps Lot 10. All the rest of them still have problems with arroyos going across that northern part. So what does it accomplish?
I don't think we necessarily have to have them build the road, but I think if we had to put up a letter of credit for half the road and then say to the developer to the south, you have to pay the other half, that would be equitable.
I mean, it could be an option if that's how the commission feels for that.
Is it too convoluted?
On our end, no, but it'll be up to the applicant to, reach out to, a bank and, pursue that option. I mean, we do letter of credits for some subdivisions, when they want to record that plat before improvements are in. We would just have to figure out timelines because we don't know when that developer's going to come in. And I don't know if there's going to be any financial institution that's going to be willing to issue that letter of credit without that being known.
I can just see a dispute arising from this and the property owners getting stuck, having to pay something for that road, right? That would be completely unfair to them.
Yeah.
Because we didn't create a situation where the road cost was covered at this time. So they either have to build the road, put up a letter of credit to have the road built in the future, or cover half the cost and then let the other developer pay the other half. So those are the options that I see. But not doing it doesn't seem to be an option to me.
Well, you can make it conditional on the development of the next portion. Make that a condition for the other, when they come in to apply for the development of the lower property, that's a condition that maybe you can put it on that.
Yeah, then it becomes 6 of one, half dozen of the other. They
Yeah.
either pay for it now or pay for it in the
Pay for it
future.
later.
Okay, I'm all right with that.
Okay, do we have other comments on this? Come up.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Edward Martinez, 3925 Desert Mirage Subdivision.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
I live in the subdivision just to the south. I live in the subdivision just to the south of this. Sorry for not getting up earlier, but some of the questions that you just brought up, I think, are relevant. Regarding bike lane, there are no bike lanes out there. There are no signs out there, unfortunately, on Desert, on Dripping Springs Road regarding bike lanes. Regarding height, as I mentioned, I live in the Desert Mirage subdivision just to the south and west of this. Those are 1 to 2.5 acre lots. I actually have one of the few houses in that subdivision that's a 2-story house. My house to the top of the chimney is 32 feet high. The parapet height on the 2nd story is 28 feet high, just for reference. We developed the house such that we ensured that it did not block the adjacent views from the adjacent homeowners. Regarding the question that you have now on cul-de-sac, I'm actually an engineer as well, so I have some knowledge of this. One thing I could potentially suggest is that the developer go ahead. Right now, they're proposing that future right-of-way just be an easement for now. If it's dedicated as a formal right-of-way for now, the existing developer would have gone ahead and provided a value for future development to the south. So therefore, that could be considered his contribution to that future roadway, i.e. providing the right-of-way for it. So that would minimize any potential concern for disputes in the future regarding adjacent homeowners, et cetera. It's an existing right-of-way. It just was not developed. It was left as a cul-de-sac where they're proposing it. But that way, future developer would not have to acquire the land for formal right-of-way. And from that standpoint, that would minimize, I think, any disputes in the future. Just for planning purposes, if that lot to the south is ever developed in the future, what I would anticipate is this road would probably extend down to Desert Mirage subdivision, the second phase of Desert Mirage subdivision. There actually is a roadway right now that ends in the dead end at the very top of Desert Mirage Road. And that's where I would anticipate that this road would likely connect in if that area is ever developed. So with that, I'll
Yes.
shut up and sit down.
So we can make that a requirement that they dedicate the land, right?
Yes, I mean, that's the short answer. And like Mr. Martinez was stating, you know, when you look at, you know, that part of Desert Mirage that's south of those 40 acres right there, you can see that the existing road kind of dead ends right there. So any future developers that comes in there, you know, staff will probably encourage them to make a connection from that dead end right there to the north where the right-of-way is already being left in place.
So a requirement would be that the final plat show that the right-of-way is dedicated.
Yes,
County
and it is showing right now,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank you, Zach.
Did you want to modify your
Do we
motion?
amend it or not?
So Commissioner Zerniak, you're suggesting an amendment to the motion.
No, Albert said that the dedication is indicated on the plat, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the motion on the floor to approve SD 26 dash, excuse me, SD 26-013. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Uranga,
Yes.
Commissioner Lear,
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
No.
Vice Chair Zerniak,
Yes.
Chair Zarges.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on, case number SD 26-019.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Albert Casillas, 845 North Motel Boulevard.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Commissioners, before I start, I'm going to hand out a letter that was submitted by one of the surrounding property owners. When you go on the website, it's showing on there, but for some reason, when you print out the packet, it's not printing as part of the packet. So I'm going to hand out this letter. I'm going to give you guys maybe 3 or 4 minutes to go over it, and then I'll start my presentation, okay? And just real quick, Commissioner Uranga, I know you're not here in the room with us, but if you go to the county website, if you go to the case analysis, that letter does show on there.
The county website, where exactly?
It's on the link that I sent out for the meeting. If you navigate yourself to the agenda for today, just scroll down
Okay.
to this case, and the letter should be on there.
Mm, it doesn't show the letter and then, on the case itself.
Yes, for SD-019.
Okay. Got it. And this letter is the public input letter you're talking about, correct?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead and get started with the presentation. And just a reminder, make sure that everybody's mics are on before we'll be talking to the microphone. So our second case today, this property is located in Picacho Hills. It's on Plazuela Court. The zoning on the property right now is a D3, which is a high-density residential zoning designation. So, anything from a duplex, triplex, fourplex, apartments, townhomes, that's what's allowed under the current zoning. And it's going to be for 18 residential lots. The property size is 3.809 acres. The lots are going to be ranging in size from 0.092 to 0.28 acres. And this is to be known as Plazuela Village at Picacho Hills subdivision. Here's a location map of the subject parcel. This is Via Norte, which on the south connects to Picacho Hills Drive. And right now, this is Plazuela Court. It's a subdivision right now that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lots with their axis connecting to Via Norte. So it's already been platted before. So they did get approval for 7 lots back when it was still under the ETZ. And when you look at the zoning map, pretty much everything around there, it's that D3 zoning designation. So D3, permits triplexes, fourplexes, multifamily apartment complexes at high density with the community water and sewer services. It allows for 4,500 square feet. In 2009, the original plat was approved under, it was known as the Adobes at Picacho Hills, and it was a 7-lot residential subdivision. And this is just a screenshot of that original approval. You basically had Via Norte coming in, and it ended in a cul-de-sac with the 7 residential lots. So for this subdivision, all utilities will be underground except for solid waste disposal. Water and wastewater will be provided by Doña Mutual Domestic. Access is from Via Norte onto Plazuela Court, which will, it's going to be paved, it's going to be improved, but it's going to remain a private right-of-way. And all lots will have access to that road. And under the preliminary plat, this is what's being proposed. You have the 18 lots right here, still keeping the cul-de-sac at the end with their access coming off to Via Norte. Now, I went ahead and added this. I took a screenshot of their construction drawings. It just basically kind of gives you an idea of what the final build-out's going to look like. You have Via Norte over here, so this is Plazuela Court. This is going to be the main entrance. And you basically have a little island here to direct traffic coming in, coming out. They're giving out additional parking spots right here. These are going to be the ponding areas. And I believe this is going to be a small recreational area, but I can have the applicant right now kind of explain the final, layout and amenities that are going to be included for this for the subdivision. These are going to be rock walls or retaining walls for the subdivision, and I think this is going to be a path for the golf carts that they're also including. So here's the aerial of the subject parcel right here. This is Via Norte. Here is the subject parcel. So, they built out the subdivision, a couple of years ago. So it hasn't been used. So, a lot of the, infrastructure that's already in there, more than likely it's going to be, taken out and replaced for this new subdivision. I'll let their engineer address that, but they're not keeping the same layout that's already, or that you're about to see right now. But this is the entrance for Plazuela. At that intersection here, we're looking north on Via Norte. We're looking south. And that's right across, I think that's hole 16. And basically that's the entrance right now. This is, part of their original build out. And you can kind of see how everything's been just overgrown out there. This was their original Plazuela Court access for those 7 lots. And you're driving down into the property, and it's going to end in a cul-de-sac. And now I'm just looking back from the end of that cul-de-sac. So here are the subdivision requirements for subdivisions. We did send out letters. We did get correspondence. Like I said, this one, I don't know why it didn't print out as part of the packet. It's on the website. So I'll have to talk to IT about that. But we got a chance to look at the concerns, at the comments. Concerns with the utilities, how the wastewater is going to be coming in and out of that property, flooding, grading, and drainage for some of the concerns. So our staff findings are included in your packet as well. For the most part, when it came to agency reviews, there weren't really too many concerns. Our recommendation is still going to be for a conditional approval of Plazuela subdivision, just as long as they address minor comments from reviewing agencies. And I believe it was only a fire who had a concern about the location of the fire hydrants. And also flood had some minor changes to their grading and drainage plan. And with that said, we do stand for questions. The applicant's engineer is here as well to address any comments or concerns.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. In the D3 zoning, is there a condition for a minimum size lot?
I believe there is. We saw the 4,500 square feet.
Yeah, because all these ones that are the .09, those are rated about 4,000 square feet.
Okay, let me double check. So on the D3, it's a 60 by 70. That's, you have to be 60 by 70, so it's 4,500 square feet. And I'm gonna have to go back and double check on that, but if there is a lot size that doesn't meet that requirement, they're gonna have to make that
Yeah, because
modification.
all the ones that are the .09, you 43,560 square feet in an acre, you multiply that by the .09, you end up with 4,007 square feet. So that's below the 4,500.
So we're gonna have to double check on that.
Okay.
I have a question for you too, Albert. It concerns, this Plazuela is zoned for high density,
Yes.
but the original 7 lots under the Adobe, what was the zoning there? What was it zoned at?
Oh,
Was that also high density, that they could switch it automatically to 18?
I don't recall what because back then it was still the ETZ. And I know when we converted over, when we went from the ETZ to the UDC, it did have some high, it was like between medium and high density residential. That was what the old zoning was. But now, when we were doing that conversion, the closest similar use that we had for that was the D3 designation.
Well, I'm just wondering, it sounds to me, based on the letter, that it was, under Adobe, there were 7 lots in there. Now you just change the name and you can automatically change to high density? Or did something happen where?
Yeah, the adoption of, the adoption of, Commissioner Fisher, Chair Sargis, the adoption of the UDC happened. And with this new zoning designation, with the D3, that's what's allowing the higher density.
Okay.
Other questions of staff? Other questions of staff? Can we hear from the applicant, please? We'll open to the public in a minute. Let's hear from the applicant first, okay?
Good morning. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Edward Martinez, 3925 Desert Broom Court, Las Cruces.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning. Regarding, obviously, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Regarding your question on the zoning and density change, there is no density change from prior. If you look immediately across to the east from this site, there's the Fairway Village subdivision that's immediately to the east. It's similar density and it was similarly zoned under the ETZ and under what we're doing now prior to when it was under the ETZ as well as now.
Okay.
So we met the zoning then, we meet the zoning now.
Other questions of the applicant?
It's not the, Albert, it's not the zoning. It's NMED or the state engineer that controls that minimum lot size, isn't it?
Commissioner Zerniak, Chair Sargis, it's the availability of sewer that triggers that, whether or not somebody can be at a 3/4 acre minimum or down to the 4,500 square feet,
But not below 4,500.
but not below 4,500. So we're gonna have to address that because 4,500 feet, it's .10.
And that's a state requirement, not a county.
That's a UDC requirement,
It's a what?
our code requirement.
That, if I may, that is not a state requirement. It's specific to the UDC code.
But it is 4,500 square feet as a minimum.
I would have to check that. I don't know that right off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
Other questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you. And members of the public that wanted to speak? Is it just the three of you, or are there other members who want to speak?
My name is Mary Mulvihill. My address is 6730 Via Emma Street.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes. Thank you for listening to me today. This was my letter that you got. I've been a resident of Picacho Hills for 25 years. I've also familiar with the Adobe subdivision, excuse me, which has been bought and sold by several people over the last 20 years since it was platted. There's a reason why in a desirable subdivision like Picacho Hills that it hasn't been developed. If you look at the maps that you have behind you, the proposed 7 lots are roughly the same size as the lots surrounding the whole area. Now, they're going to take those 7 lots, or they're trying to, and make 18 lots out of it. It's not it's just not the same as the rest of the neighborhood. But my opposition is really based on regard for public safety. If you can take that 7 lots, make them 18, and have a flood and try to get 18 people out of there safely, or 18 households, it's not going to happen. If there's a fire, if there's a medical emergency, you have 1 egress, 1 ingress. That's it. There's no plan for another exit. I'm interested in safety. I don't want anybody to die. I don't want anybody to be injured. There's drainage. I live where I can see it. It's not a personal thing with me. It's not gonna block my view or anything like that. But every time we get a moderate rain, and you could see it on your pictures, there's mud on that road that all that washes down there. There's no place for it to go. The street is so narrow, you can't park on it. So how are you going to get emergency vehicles in and out and still take care of the people? The infrastructure, it's the density, it's neighborhood compatibility. And it's the fact that it just doesn't fit in the neighborhood. But safety is my main concern. And I thank you all for reading my letter and listening to me. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to entertain them. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Bruce Norton at 1501 Via Norte.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Thank
you. My wife has more concerns about this than I do, but she sent me. But our concerns are quite serious. All of what she said is true, but it's a lot worse than that. The lady that just preceded me.
Put the mic up closer so we can hear you better.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Our view looks right at this. We live on the west side of Via Norte. In fact, it's the last house on Via Norte until that street dead ends about a mile up the road. That street happens to be 30 miles an hour. And unfortunately, it's treated as a speedway by a lot of people. I look at that road all day long. I can see it out the window. I can see all this. I also walk my dogs down this little road that they've got there, and also on the outside on both sides, because that's where the golf cart paths are. That And I don't know if any of you are familiar with the hole numbers, but hole number 12 would be on the north side of this development. Hole number 13 would be on the west side. Hole number 15 is a par 3, and it on the immediate west side, south side. And on the next hole is number 16, and the ladies' tee is right off our backyard. I used to play golf out there all the time for years, but I got some pains in my fingers and hands, and I had to drop playing. But as I told you, I walked the dogs. In the last 6 weeks, I've collected 16, quote, lost golf balls all around that area. If anybody's familiar with hole number 16, which on the right side of that hole, about 200 yards out from the tee box, is a rather nice home that has spent, I think it's over $10,000 protecting their home from slicers like me. For those of you who play golf, you know what I'm talking about. Well, those lost golf balls that I've picked up, and I should have brought the little plastic tray I've got them in. A lot of Titleists, a lot of Max Flies, a lot of nice golf balls, all on the properties that we're talking about, of putting houses on. The drives off hole number 12 find the north side of all those lots, and that's where a lot of the balls come from. The next tee, which is the 13th tee, it sits up on a hill, and if you have a picture of put up a picture of where they proposed the lots, you could see that when the people hit off the tee up there, again, if they slice, they're gonna crash into those houses that are down there on that end. That's where I find a number of the golf balls. In addition, there's a lot of trees out there that are gonna have to be taken out to build these lots. These lots aren't vacant property right now. They're vegetated with a lot of trees. As I say, the road in there, that road is very narrow. It's not it is, you could probably get 2 lanes. You could probably do that, but it's not a real road. It's just a cul-de-sac. I don't know why it was ever put there. There are some very nice homes that are gonna look directly into the homes on this south side of that road. And I just don't think you're gonna have a safe situation there. I wasn't even thinking about emergency vehicles and so on, but that's a very tight thing. The other thing is that when you come up out of there, you're right onto Via Norte, and I'm not exaggerating when I say Via Norte is kind of a speedway. People are going way over the speed limit there because it's just wide open. There's nothing there. Ours is the last house for about a mile on the west side. And so people are just flying up through there constantly. So I would worry about traffic coming in and out. If you have 18 units in there, how many cars is that going to put in that little cul-de-sac that are going to be parked there and going to be going in and out every day? And there's not even a stop sign coming out of there. So I think it's definitely a safety issue. It's also, as I think she stated very correctly, the person that spoke before me, nothing like that. The homes out there aren't like these little small units they're talking about. That immediately, immediately it would be east of there is where that development of those types of houses is in. And it's a very nice development, but that doesn't fit in this cul-de-sac at all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Kerry Kofelt. I live at 1500 Via Norte.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having a moment to listen to me. Ladies and gentlemen, I live directly across from this area. In 2019, when we were looking at our forever home, we chose 1500 because I have one of the most fabulous views in the neighborhood. It was one of the original homes built there. And my view of our wonderful valley, the mountains, et cetera, is just impeccable. It's wonderful. And now with this 18 versus the 7 lots, plus, which amazes me, is I'm going to be looking directly at a parking lot. You know, from my living room, from my den, from everywhere, I get to stare at a new parking lot, and no one knows what's going to be parked in the parking lot. RVs, utility trailers, who know, you know, and as my neighbor Bruce just mentioned, 18 homes. There's no space for any parking, and the traffic is going to be just immeasurable. You know, 18 homes is probably anywhere from 80 to 100 new people 100 yards away from us. The value of my home now is going to be impacted greatly. I'm now going to be looking at 18 minimum size homes, nothing like the rest of the neighborhood. And so again, the value of my home just went down the drain. The safety concern, which Bruce mentioned, which is not a big deal, but it's in the middle of a golf course. In my home, I know Bruce said he collects 16 balls. I collect 10 balls a week. In my yard, I have buckets of balls, and I just give them to everybody. But anyway, the point is, changing that from 7 to 18 is very disturbing to me. And then, of course, having this potential parking lot directly out my door to look at is just, I'm going, really? I won't be able to sell my house. Those people are going to look at a parking lot, not what we bought our home for. We love the valley. You know, 4th of July, we have all our friends come over so we can see the fireworks go all across the valley, and it's wonderful. But now we're going to have to look at the backyards of homes. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead. You'll get a chance to respond to comments.
Don't get old.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Brookshire, 67.
I'm sorry, can you speak into the mic?
Glen Brookshire, 6725 Cordova Circle, Picacho Hills.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Last time I said I do, ended up married.
Move the mic down a little. Move the mic down a little where we can hear you.
Is that good?
That's better, thank you.
I have 2 issues to bring to your attention this morning. The first one is essentially an ethical issue. You have zoning put in place in a community so people can move into that community and invest and build homes with the assurance that future development is going to be compatible with the current plan. Now, what we got here is an outside developer with an idea of how to make some money. But you see, that idea is not compatible with the current rules of the community. So his solution is, well, change the rules. Change the rules that everybody else has complied with until now. but change them for his benefit. It's not for the benefit of the community that this is being done. It's for the benefit of the developer. There's been no communication with the community. It's just, how can we make some money here? The other issue that I want to mention is a practical structural issue. This land has been undeveloped for all this time. Now, a road was put in initially, and the basic utilities were put in, underground utilities. But since then, nothing has been done. No developer that has looked at this area has decided that building there is a wise thing to do. Everyone has said, nope, no way. Now I wonder why. Well, the reason is this is essentially a ravine. It's where the water goes. Have you heard the term gully washer? This is the gully. Now, I have no doubt that the developer will be able to find, or maybe has already found, an engineer who will design a flood control system for this development. The problem is that this design doesn't have to work. It just has to look like it'll work. Over the years, it may not. And if it doesn't, you're going to have some major structural problems. Now, you say that I might be going off, I might be a loony at this point, but the proof is right there in this division, in this area. Several years ago, we had a gully washer, and it washed. There was major consequences. They got repaired, and an engineer has come in and designed a water control system here. It looked good. It essentially worked for several years. If you go down there and look today, you'll see that it has collapsed. So, if you change the rules that everybody else has lived by up till now, if you change the rules so this developer can implement this project to make money, you're liable, highly likely, in fact, to end up with some major structural problems later. And while I was sitting back here just now and looking at the map of the proposed design, there's another structural problem that doesn't really show in the pictures or the map. That area on the north side of that road is a steep slope. So you're going to be, I don't know how you're going to build houses. I'm not an engineer, I'm not a contractor, I don't know. But that is a steep slope. When you try to build on a steep slope over the years, ground sort of has its way of moving things. So it's your decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else wishes to speak to this issue? Okay, go ahead.
Edward Martinez, representing the developer.
No, he's already.
I'm already.
I think you're okay.
Yeah. Thank you. There's been many items that have been brought up, and I'll try to address them, as many as I can remember. First off, regarding drainage. I'm a registered professional engineer. My specialty is actually drainage. My graduate studies were in drainage, hydrology, and hydraulics. The major flows from this area are actually to the north of the subdivision. There's very minor flows within the subdivision area itself. The primary reason, mostly why this area had not been developed, we were actually the original engineers when it was approved as a 7-lot subdivision. We were also the engineers when it was approved, I think it was in 2021, when it was an 11-lot subdivision, it was approved as well. We're not asking to change the regulations. We're not asking to change the zoning. We're not asking to change the codes. We met the codes under the prior ETZ. We meet the codes now. We're not asking to change requirements. We're meeting the requirements that are in place. Regarding the drainage, there was a drainage gabion structure that was initially put in with the roadway back in 2009 on the very northeast corner of the property that failed as a result of basically lack of maintenance, because the project sat and there was no maintenance done for many, many years, and those gabions failed. We're replacing those gabions with pipe culverts that will allow that flow to pass to the north. That flow does not affect the subdivision. We're just basically passing it through the very northeast corner of the subdivision. There was question and comment regarding sediment on the roadway. That is correct. One of the reasons why this area has not been developed is because you do have these steep lot areas on the north side of the roadway that would be quite a bit of work for somebody to come in and flatten those out to make them developable lots. That is one of the things we're taking on, is regrading the subdivision. We're going to be redoing the roadway, basically in the same configuration, but redoing the roadway, bringing up the grade a little bit on the roadway to minimize the differential between those lots and the roadway elevation. Regarding the lots and the development and the compatibility, the lots being proposed are approximately 2,000 to 2,300 square foot homes, patio homes is what's being proposed. 2-car garage, off-street parking. So from that standpoint, size-wise, they're essentially compatible with a lot of the developments in the area in terms of size of the homes themselves. They're actually slightly larger on average than the Fairway Village lots to the immediate east that I referenced before. A comparable development that's in the Picacho Hills area would be the Willows subdivision up in Picacho Mountain. That's a similar size, similar type concept that we're essentially following and proposing. And I think anyone that looks at that development, they would say it's a very, very nice development. It's not cheap homes. We're not proposing cheap homes. These are all going to be, $600,000, $700,000 homes that are being put in there. So from that standpoint, I don't think if anything, it's likely going to increase the values of properties in the area and not decrease the values. The reason why we're putting in parking areas there is because we do recognize that the roadway is fairly narrow. We want to keep the road narrow because we want to keep the speed down in that cul-de-sac. And from that standpoint, that's the reason why we're proposing off-street parking. But we recognize that, hey, somebody may have a party periodically. And when somebody has a party, there's additional cars that need to be handled. And from that standpoint, we're providing some parking pockets, basically, to allow for those circumstances. We also have, at the very top where you have multiple spaces up there, that's where we're going to have the mailbox cluster. And from that standpoint, we thought it was a good idea to ensure that we had enough spaces so that if 2-3 people were trying to get their mail at the same time, they had someplace to park. We do have a median entrance with a median area, and that's for safety purposes, so that if there is an issue at the very, very entrance, emergency vehicles can still get inside one side or the other. We are planning on a phase 2 to the immediate north that would loop back into Via Norte, so we will eventually have a second access to Via Norte for this area as well. When we put in that phase 2, that fairway number 12, hole number 12, will be modified, and the angle where the tee boxes will be set is going to be away from this area. The developer of this is a golfer himself, a very avid golfer, and he's developed golf courses. So he was very aware and very concerned about the direction of golf balls when somebody slices or God forbid, shanks. And from that standpoint, we're taking that into account when we do phase 2 of this. Like I said, hole number 12 is going to be modified, and the direction that people are going to be aiming to the green on fairway number 12 is going to be away from this subdivision, which will address the issue of golf balls. He's also very concerned about trees. We are going to keep one of the 3, there's 3 pine trees. They're older pine trees. And from that standpoint, quite frankly, they're getting towards the end of their lifespan. We are going to try to keep one of them, but he's also directed us when we redo that hole number 12 in the future, we're going to be planting some new trees to essentially act as additional barriers and screening to protect, just in case somebody does do a dreaded shrink. From the standpoint of where these homes are located and how they're being set, we are not impacting any views of anybody's views of the mountains or Picacho Peak or anything like that. This area is actually kind of in a little bowl. And from that standpoint, I understand it's a change from an undeveloped desert area, which it is now. I understand it's a change. People don't like change. But we're doing what's allowed under the code. We're not asking for changes to the code. We're doing a project that is compatible with other developments in Picacho Hills area. Picacho Hills, the main area of Picacho Hills, there's been very, very, very little development since really the 1990s. So
Mr.
you have
Martinez,
home majority.
If I may start interrupt, the property is definitely surrounded by the golf course, correct?
Yes, the property to the immediate property to the north is golf course. The immediate property to the south is golf course. The immediate property to the east is golf course.
Okay. Do you provide, for this development, do you provide any kind of protection from the golfers, or is that up to the property owner?
From the standpoint of to the immediate south, that's a par 3, and somebody hitting a wild shot, we're far enough back from that area that golf balls from the what's hole number 15 are not a problem for this area. To the east, you have the tee box on hole number 13 that's on top of the hill. It would, we're almost immediately west of that tee box. So it would be, if somebody would have to purposely aim towards this subdivision off of that tee box to hit houses in this area.
So your answer is pretty much no, because you're considering good golfers. I, for one, am not a good golfer, so I could see the possibility of hitting something.
Yeah, to the immediate north, like I said, we are actually redesigning, we will be redesigning hole number 12 in the future when we do phase 2.
To reduce the potential damage, I guess.
Correct.
But the fact is, that's a fact of life when you live next to a golf course.
When you live next to a golf course, it is a potential.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that it is the responsibility of anybody buying that lot to understand this and take whatever precautions they need to protect their property. Is that correct?
Generally, that's correct, yes. If you have any other questions, I think I've addressed drainage.
The questions of the applicant.
Lot size.
Lot size. As I said, we'll look into the issue of the 4,500 square feet. If that's a requirement, we'll make sure we meet it. Regarding, as long as we're meeting that requirement, or whatever the requirement is, like I said, that's within the existing zoning. We were meeting the zoning prior when it was standard ETC. We met the zoning when we changed it to 11 lots. We're meeting the zoning now. As long as we're meeting the zoning, you know, I understand some of the neighbors' questions and concerns, and I empathize with them. At the same time, it is a developable piece of property. At some point in time, it will be developed and it will meet the zoning.
Yeah, I think at 0.9 acres, you're under what the zoning requires. So I think there's 4 lots that need to be reconfigured. And there's adequate excess on some of the other parcels to make that happen.
Yes, I understand. Like I said, if it's that close, it shouldn't be a big change.
Commissioner Olson?
How will your client's plan mitigate the sight line concerns as represented by some of the residents today?
Well, as I said, sir, from the standpoint of us blocking views of the mountains or Picacho Peak, we're not doing that. We're not. Right now, what they're looking at is dirt hills. The houses are essentially going to be about the size of the dirt hills that are there now. So they'll be looking at a house instead of a dirt hill.
What are the height requirements or regulations on the building of those houses?
As was noted before, within the zoning code, the allowance is 35 feet. There is no plan for 35 feet. This developer, he is also going to be the developing and building the homes. So I've seen the plans for the homes. There are some there's 3 or 4 2-story home units within the development, but they are well below 35 feet in terms of height. They would probably be closer to 25 feet I think would probably be the max, although don't quote me on that.
Commissioner Sargis, Commissioner Olson, and just for the record, under the D3, because it is a high-density residential zone, the maximum height for a principal building is 45 feet.
40.
But as I said, we're not planning on that. And if you'd like to place a limit of 30 feet, I don't think that would be a problem.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, sir.
I'm
All right,
happy
ma'am.
to answer any other questions if they come up.
Yep. Now, the lady behind you, you've already spoken. There's another woman behind you.
Good morning. Can I get you to speak into the mic?
Sure. Sarah Comet.
You're going to
You
have to
wanna
move
pull
the
it
mic down, ma'am.
Thank you.
There you go.
Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Sarah Comet, 6735 Cordova Circle.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. I just have to say something. And that is, first of all, just because you can put in 18 units where once it was approved for 7, doesn't mean that you should do that. Okay? I will be looking straight down at these units, and I'm sure it won't block my view. That is not my concern. It won't bother me about that. But when Mr. Martinez says that it is in a bowl, it definitely is that, Mr. Martinez. It sits in a bowl. This unit will sit in a bowl. I too walk my dogs there, and I see that the water does come down, and I know that it does not have a place to go. It sits there, and if you do mitigate that, it's going to go into, what is that called? The next area that's down below it, where there are about 20 units on a very narrow road, like we have now on Plazuela. That water is going to have to go somewhere, and they will have to mitigate the area, and it will go down there. Okay, let's see. There is a water containment area there, and you can see it on one of the previous pictures. It doesn't really show the depth of it and how much water goes into that. But I also see that you have a parking area, like 5 spaces designated to be a little bit, I believe, west of that or northwest of that. The area is so small. It just does not make sense for that. And as for parking, again, I walk down there a lot. I don't see how 18 units are going to fit in that area. Anyway, that's all I have to say, but I had to say something. I think it's irresponsible and ill-conceived of the developer to put this many units in that one little bitty spot. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
In total deference to this gentleman who knows way more about engineering than I do, it bothers me personally that they're planning phase 2 before phase 1 has even been addressed by the commissioners. I think that's a little presumptuous. I also wanted to bring to your attention, which you probably already know, is that the developer, McDonough, is not local. They're out of Utah. They're registered in St. George, Utah. And I have to bring to your attention that New Mexico always welcomes people from the outside to come in, to develop, to help us. But I'm afraid that our recent experiences have showed that they don't always have our best interests at heart. So I'd like you to consider that. I also would like you to consider what they're doing for phase 2, which is not even on the table. I believe Mr. Casillas told me there's nothing in process right now. So they're assuming they get what they want with this, and then they'll get what they want with something else. So I'm asking you to please give that your consideration, and I thank you for your attention. You've been really great.
Thank you. Sir, no, the gentleman behind you. You get a chance to respond to all the comments.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
David Kovar, 6710 Via Emma.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
In terms of phase one portion, we talked plenty about that, but potential phase two, where they're already planning by putting in an eventual access to what is now the 12th hole on that road that they're putting in. Having that area, which essentially now is the tee box, changed over to a residential area with houses that are going to be up against Via Emma. My house is the second house up on Via Emma. And my view of the Oregon Mountains with that development will be significantly impacted. I have a bench that's at the end of my driveway in my yard that every evening I get my corgi dog out. We sit on that bench and we enjoy our view. We're not going to have that view with phase two. So I'm seriously have an issue with them putting in that access right now for future development. And that's what I have, all I have, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Edward Martinez representing the developer. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. The lady there, when she had commented about the drainage at the bottom of the area, we do have a pond there at the bottom of the cul-de-sac planned. That is, we also have two smaller pond areas up on the to the west side of the development. Those pond areas are adequate to take care of the differential from the project, which is what our requirement is. One of the comments from flood, we had the ponds designed at 3 feet. With them being designed at 3 feet, the requirement was we would have to put walls or fencing around them. So we're modifying that design to make sure that it's at the depths are 2.9 feet. So we won't have to put the fencing around it because we figured the fencing would be more of an eyesore than if we just had nice landscaped pond areas. So we're, like I said, we are taking care of the requirements under the code to meet our drainage requirements. Regarding phase two and regarding this project, I mean, the bottom line is if we meet code, we meet code. We're not, as I said, we're not asking for changes to code. We're not asking to changes in the regulations. We're asking to do what's allowed to this piece of property under the regulations, under the code, under the UDC standards. And from that standpoint, as I said, as I understand their concerns, I've lived in this community since the mid-1980s. I was one of the engineers for Carlos Blanco when Carlos Blanco did Picacho Hills originally. I did some of the original subdivisions for him. I've done work in this community for well over 35 years. I've done a lot of work at Picacho Hills. I was one of the original engineers on Picacho Mountain master plan. So I know the area. I've worked in the area for decades. What we are doing is compatible with the area. It's compatible with the community. Regarding the developer, yes, the developer lives in Utah. However, the developer has worked in, and has done other developments in New Mexico for several decades. They were the original developer of the Rainmaker Golf Course up in Ruidoso and the surrounding subdivision. So they have ties to the community and to New Mexico. So it's not like they're coming in out of the blue. And one of the reasons why they're wanting to do this project is they saw Picacho Hills as an area that has a lot of potential, but it's been stagnant for a long time. And they wanted to try to promote and move the Picacho Hills community forward by looking at doing developments in the Picacho Hills area. And so that's the reason why, yes, we're looking at a phase 2. But once again, when we come in with phase 2, it's going to meet the code. It's going to meet the zoning. It's going to meet the UDC standards. We're not asking for something that's not allowed under the regulations. We're asking that you approve it as it's allowed under the regulations. With that, I appreciate your time.
Sir, go ahead.
Bruce Norton again. I hadn't seen this diagram, nor had I seen the parking lots that they have at the west side of the development. My wife and I always wondered where they were going to park the cars for all these units down there, because most people, families have 2 cars. Some have 3. So we're going to be faced now with looking at a parking lot. That's the only parking lot in Picacho Hills besides the one at the country club where the golfers park. It's inappropriate for that development, for that property to have a parking lot, because that's very clearly visible to everybody that lives in that area. I had no idea, this is the first time I've seen that drawing, that there's a parking lot at the west end of it. Looks to me like there's at least 20, 30 spaces. The last thing about that parking lot is they're right to the, would be the north of the green, the par 3 green. That's about a 180-yard hole. Those cars are going to have a lot of bad windshields, I can tell you that, because that's one of the places I find a lot of golf balls, is in that very area where the road starts down there. Not a good place for a parking lot from visibility, and it's just horrible. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Go ahead, sir. These people have already spoken. Come up and.
Yes, please do.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Leon Silverstrom, 6730 Via Emma, Las Cruces.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Full disclosure first, my wife, Mary Mulvihill, has spoken several times. I started off, even this morning, fairly neutral on this project, on this idea. My background, in part, is community development, urban development specifically. And by the time I'm done here, my problem from a record standpoint as decision makers is an apparent total absence of anything for this project. I hear no testimony or see no person showing up to talk about a need, talk about a purpose, talk about a problem that is being solved. This decision-making body is looking to develop and solve citywide, statewide problems. I heard nothing today in terms of this solving anything from a poverty standpoint, from a density standpoint. I don't see a flow of residents coming in saying, we need this, please. We've been waiting for this for years. If anything, what I heard was, this is almost an abandoned piece of land that nobody wanted to do anything with until somebody out of state, not in the area, said, you know, I can make some money on this. So I'll put in some more $600,000 homes that nobody is begging for at the moment. And I think New Mexico is in need of any money they might see, and they'll say yes. It's an impression. But I'm afraid that if this gets approved, that's the impression that's going to be left in the community, left for anybody looking at the record. I don't know why. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, go ahead. Him first.
What I'm hearing from the developer is that they are going to make sure that they do everything they can to stick with code to make the houses appropriate. But have they had any discussions with the people who live there and the impact that these houses will have? Because I will tell you, if there are houses built at the T-box area of the 12th hole that butt up against Via Norte, that will impact the value of my house as well, because I will no longer have that view that I wanted when I purchased that house. So I really feel that that is of significance, that there really has been no discussion with the people who live there and trying to gain an understanding of the impact that this project that they want to do, especially phase 2, for me, that will significantly impact the value of my house. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Lori Cofelt, 1500 Via Norte.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
It is. Thank you. I am not a speaker, so bear with me. That is my husband. You've already heard from him. And we do live on the end, on Via Norte at the top of 15.
Would you please
Sorry.
speak into the mic again?
Sorry. We live on Via Norte at the end of 15, and I agree with Bruce. Balls do come in our yard all the time, so that's where it impacts that, and it would go into the parking lot too. That aside, I'm kind of like with this other gentleman. I was kind of neutral on this. You know, it is in a bowl. We are sitting a lot higher than it, granted that. But the fact is, since we've moved there in 19, that was zoned for housing. They even had for sale lot signs on each of the plots and stuff. Nobody ever bought or built there. And then we're hearing from this gentleman that, again, it was zoned for 11, which I'm not sure why we went from 7 to 18 on this conversation, but there was one in 11. My question is, why hasn't it been developed? It's been approved so many years now. What is the deal? When you walk that street, you look, when you walk from the top on 12, you look, it's a steep hill. You see all the runoff for the water. I'm not sure what I would ever buy a lot there because it's just, they're tiny, it's short, there's not a lot of space there. If anything, I'd go back to the 7 or maybe even the 11, but 18 units right there just doesn't seem to fit. If you actually walk the course and walk that area, you would go, I can't see it. You just can't. You know, I mean, I have nothing against people coming in and developing. I have not. But it does bother me that they're going to put so many tiny $600,000 homes in one little small area. I just don't see it. I just had to say my piece. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
afternoon. Can everyone hear me?
Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record. Please state your name and address for the record. Can you speak into the mic, please?
Josephine Benavides, 1549 Fairway Village Drive.
Thank you. And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I've been sitting here keeping my mouth shut. I'm a retired professor of communication from the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. I retired and went to Portugal and decided that living in the United States of America is a really great place. So I decided to come back to the US and come back to a state that belonged to my ancestry, and that's New Mexico. And when I purchased my home in Fairway Village Drive, is there anyone else here that lives in Fairway Village Drive? All right. So the first question that I asked, because I love the location, and I'm right behind the golf course is right in my backyard. And I asked a question, is there any chance that anything here that I need to know about this? Is anything going to change with this? And I was told, no, it's good. This village has been here, this development has been here for quite a while, and everything is good. And I believe that, and I trusted that, and heck, I'm retired now, so I'm back in New Mexico. And then I get this message and this letter stating that they're going to build right behind in my backyard there. And I go out the back and there's going to be development, and I'm not going to be able to see the golf course anymore. And it's like, well, where did this all come from? So my question to all of you is to think about, other people like myself. I don't know too many people in the development because people come and they go. And it's a sad thing. And I love it here. I'm only gone when I go back to my other home in Portugal. But I always love coming back to my roots. And I think that we need to think, and hopefully you will take all of this into consideration. There are many stories within this development where I live in Fairway Village. And take into consideration, why did we select where we are? Sure, we get golf balls. I just found one this morning. And when I first moved into that house, I'm moving in and I'm in the backyard and I hear these thuds and plunks and golf clubs coming, or balls are being, my goodness, I'm in a golf course. And so take this all into consideration, that there are lives and people who have made sacrifices to be where they're at. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. All right, go ahead. Last one.
Hi, Kerry Kofelt again. I just have two things to say. One is, we don't need this area. If you look at Picacho Hills with the willows and all the other developments that are going, there's many, many lots for sale and have been for sale for years, undeveloped, and none of them are that tiny at all. There's no need for this. The second thing that I'd like to help correct Mr. Martinez understand is I'm a fairly competent golfer. I can tell you, I have no idea where that ball's going.
Edward Martinez, representing the developer. Regarding purpose and need of the project, which this gentleman brought up. And to follow up on his comment, I mentioned the Willows before. The Willows is a project that, as I said, we're somewhat similar and compatible with in terms of size, in terms of a product, et cetera. That project sold out essentially in about 6 years from the time that it started development. They're doing another similar project in the Picacho. They're proposing another similar project in Picacho Mountain now because the Willows sold out. There is a definite need in the Picacho Hills area that is numerous people have stated to the current owner of the country club that they're looking for patio homes. They're looking for step-down homes. They don't want big yards anymore, but they don't want homes that are of adequate size or similar size to what they're used to, hence the patio home product that we're proposing. And so our feeling is that we are meeting a need that currently is underserved in that community. And that is the reason why we went from 11 lots, as was approved back in, I think, as I mentioned, 21, to the 18 lots now, because we moved it from a detached home product to a patio home product, and hence the higher density. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments from the commission? Look for a motion.
I'll move approval of SD 26-019 with the condition that the developer meet with staff and ensure that they meet code as far as lot size.
Yes. I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Zerniak, second by Commissioner Fisher for conditional approval of SD 26-019. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Uranga,
Yes.
Commissioner Lear,
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zerniak,
Yes.
Chair Zargis.
Yes. Please remember, people, this is only on phase 1. We are not looking at phase 2 at this point. I wanted to make that clear because a lot of the comments were about phase 2. Okay. Administrative approvals.
Chair, none at this point.
Thank you, Albert. Staff input.
Yep, no staff input today. We do have another P&Z meeting in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Commission input.
Sorry. Can we get Angela in here to give us an update on the comp plan process?
Yes.
Thank you.
I had a comment too. Albert, Ms. Benavides's comment about buying my land and then later on something comes up, somebody else develops around it. Have we looked at any kind of utilization of an AI software where if you're looking to buy a lot, you can look and see, ask AI, what's the potential development around this lot size? Are we looking at, are we even addressing the potential use of AI in our system?
Commissioner Fisher, not at this point. I mean, electronically wise, the most we have right now is just, our land use map online, where people can go in there, put in a parcel number and they can, bring up the existing zoning up there. I know one of the goals of the comp plan amendment was to come up with a future land use map. So it's in the works, but I don't think it's as far as incorporating AI into that.
I think it's very cumbersome online to look at all these maps but if you were able to, when you buy your lot, to see what are the zoning and the potential development immediately around me, and that would be very helpful to a potential owner.
At this point, what we have available for the public is, if somebody goes online to the county website, if they look at the GIS website, they're able to pull up the zoning map. They can click on the parcel, they can click on the zoning. There's a link that tells people what uses are allowed by right and what uses require a special use permit. So we do have that available for the public.
So it potentially could already be accessible, is what you're saying, if you've got an AI application?
It is, yeah. I mean, all you have to do, you can just go on your phone and bring that up too as well. But incorporating AI into that, I think I would probably have to talk to IT and see what options are available out there.
Casillas. And that, would it be possible, and Mr. Chairman, and that, would it be possible when we talk about these developments, if we could have some sort of geographic look at what the impact is upon other residents in the area? And that, can we take photos, or can we look at the topography or whatever? What I'm concerned is that what we've seen today is we've seen the disparity between zoning and what is good for, you know, the surrounding neighbors. I mean, I'm sensitive to the fact that people have purchased homes and that they've chosen this as probably their last homes of their life. They came here for the views, they came here for the amenities, and the disparity, the collateral loss is significant to these people. And so if we had a better view of some of these proposals, and that maybe it would give us a better idea. And I'm all for neighbors speaking with each other, developers speaking with current residents, because that would go a long way in resolving potential conflicts. And that, I think we've seen that today on a couple of occasions. So that's my thought, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Olson, for sure. I'll brainstorm with staff and see what changes we can make to our case analysis, to our presentation, to include more information on impacts.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I know that you guys have plenty of work to do, and that increases your workload, but I think in the interest of being kind, that's the way to go.
It might be, I know that we have that requirement for large subdivisions. It might be of interest to lower the threshold on those neighborhood meetings.
Yeah, town hall meetings, we do have some requirements for that, based on, size, or if you're doing a master plan or a community type, like the one that we saw, at a previous hearing. But we can look into those.
I mean, it could even be one of the decision criteria. Did they meet with the community to talk about it?
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. I guess we can call this for adjournment then. Thank you all.
Just remember, today is the start of the World Cup, so